Cardi B just walked past her own car, past her own security, past her whole team, and got into the passenger seat of the ONE man the internet swore she was done with. And she didn't just leave with him. She vanished into the Maryland night while her ex-husband was allegedly watching from a hospital recovery bed. Stefon Diggs really pulled up unemployed, with 4 legal cases on his head, and still acted like he owned the whole building. Bro really woke up and chose audacity. Before we get into it, subscribe, don't miss it. Nah. Belcalis Almanzo, Cardi B herself, was spotted leaving her own Little Miss Drama tour after party in the passenger seat of Stefon Diggs' vehicle on April 8, 2026, after her sold-out show at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. Footage hit Instagram before the sun even came up, showing the two pulling off together and reportedly heading toward Maryland. Diggs really thought nobody was gonna notice him rolling up with his whole bloodline. That's a move of a man desperate to be seen. Now let's look at the receipts that show exactly why this surprise wasn't a surprise at all. Look, let's start with the receipts because this whole night left a paper trail a mile long. Hours before the DC show even kicked off, Stefon Diggs, Steph himself, hopped on his spam Instagram account, the one labeled Big Fish, and posted a caption that was dripping with what I can only call top dog, grown man, I'm on my way energy. He didn't tag Cardi. He didn't name the city. He didn't need to. When I saw that post, I already knew. Bro was announcing himself before he even landed. That's not a man showing up for moral support. That's a man planting a flag. Then we got the concert itself on April 8, 2026, at Capital One Arena. Mid-show, Cardi stopped performing, grabbed the MIC, and hit the crowd with a line that damn near broke the internet in real time. She told the crowd that the last time she performed a certain song, she ended up pregnant. Then she looked dead into the lights and said, and I quote, she might get put on her back tonight. Yo, when I heard that, I had to rewind 3 times. With Diggs sitting in that suite, mom to his left, brother Trayvon to his right. She said that? Nah, brew, that's not subtle. That's a public invitation with a return address. Now let's talk about the trainer. Diggs' own personal trainer, the man responsible for keeping Steph hamstrings from snapping on Sundays, posted to his Instagram story mid-performance, openly giving Cardi her flowers and letting the entire world know he was in that building with the Diggs camp. When I read the caption, I was like, okay, so we're just confirming it now. The trainer's not posting that unless it's a family affair. Period. And confirmed multiple outlets reported the two drove off together after. Then we got the comment from creator Messy Tea Time, who dropped a take that honestly deserves all the credit. She said, and I'm paraphrasing because she said it 3 different ways, there's no way the grandmother shows up to a concert if they are not still together. She then pointed out Diggs couldn't stop smiling all night, and his mom was acting like SHE was personally in the relationship. When I heard her say that, I was like, she cooked? She cooked. Because grandma don't fly in for no fling. Grandma shows up when it's family. Bro really rolled his grandma out like she was a character witness. That's the dumbest flex and the most genius flex at the same time. And then there's Offset, Kiari Kendall Cephas, fresh out of the hospital after getting shot outside the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida, on April 6, 2026. The second the DC footage of Cardi and Diggs started going viral, Offset, a man who should have been focused on healing, posted a single car crash image to his story. No caption, no context, just a wreck. When I saw that post land, I legit went, are you serious right now? Bro is lying in bandages with a bullet hole and still found the strength to subtweet a whole marriage he lost. That's where he lost the plot. Now let's connect the dots. That spam account post dropped before Cardi's tour bus even rolled into the city, meaning Diggs was sending smoke signals to her camp before the public had any clue. That's not spontaneous. That's coordinated. Any man who plans his Instagram before a flight already knows where he's spending the night. The trainer's mid-show story went up while Cardi was literally still performing. Think about the logistics of that for a second. A trainer doesn't post a client's girl mid-concert unless the Diggs inner circle already got the green light to be public about it. That's an internal memo leaking in real time. Bro's whole team is in on it. That grandmother detail, the grandmother arrived before Diggs even walked into the suite, meaning the family travel plan was locked in days in advance. You don't put grandma on a flight the morning of. Grandma needs a week's notice, a support cushion, and snacks for the road. The Diggs family logistically could not have pulled this off without knowing Cardi was going to be receptive. Now let's talk about the bigger timeline here. Diggs got released by the New England Patriots at the start of the 2026 league year in March, after just one season, a move that cost him the stability of his contract situation. His brother Trayvon also cut from the Cowboys. So Diggs rolls into D.C. with his brother, both of them unemployed NFL-wise, sitting in a suite surrounded by their mother and grandmother, posting on spam accounts, and the whole family looks like they are running a PR campaign. So Diggs did this 3 weeks after losing his team? That's terrible timing. Brew, unless the timing was actually the point. Remember the Super Bowl moment? Cardi and Diggs were already rumored to be on thin ice after he allegedly seated one of his baby mothers and his bestie Pre right next to his own mama at Super Bowl 60. Cardi gave that cold, dead-eyed good luck and walked off. Cardi officially confirmed the split 3 months after giving birth to their son. So the man who caused a public rupture at the biggest sporting event of the year is now the same man bringing his entire bloodline to a concert 2 months later? That's a move of someone who knows he's running out of chances. And Offset's car crash post went up within hours of the DC clips going viral. Not a coincidence. This is a man who, days before Cardi's show, was being hit with a 6-figure lawsuit by a Detroit casino over unpaid gambling debts. So the pattern becomes clear. Offset isn't posting from stability. He's posting from desperation. That's when you know he doesn't have real advisors. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Now check this out. Nobody's talking about the specific word big fish. That's the handle Diggs used to post that pre-concert teaser. Big fish. A big fish is the one being caught, or the one doing the catching in a pond full of smaller players. Pick your interpretation. But both of them scream strategic flex. This means Diggs wasn't just posting to post. That username is a PSYOP. He's telling Cardi, I'm the biggest thing in your waters. And Offset really didn't catch that one? That's embarrassing. Zoom into Cardi's stage comment about getting put on her back. One specific word does the heavy lifting there. Tonight. Not someday. Not eventually. Tonight. That's a time-stamped declaration made in a room where Diggs was physically present. This means a decision wasn't made in the hotel after the show. It was made on the microphone in front of 20,000 witnesses. Cardi's whole personality is she says what she means, and she meant every syllable. Now let's forensically examine Diggs' smile. Multiple clips show him grinning through the whole set. Not the polite lip-curl smile of an ex showing support, but the full-face, eyes crinkled, dimples deep smile of a man who already knew how the night was gonna end. Combine that with his mother's body language, clapping, hyped, visibly emotional, and you're not looking at a support appearance. You're looking at a family reunion disguised as a concert visit. If Diggs had half a brain about optics, he would have toned it down. But he didn't, because he wasn't worried about optics. He was celebrating. Now the passenger seat detail. Forget the big picture. Focus on one specific action. She walked past her own car. Her security door was already open for her. That one gesture, the walk past, is a forensic smoking gun. Because nobody accidentally walks past their own open security door. That's the equivalent of sending a press release. Cardi made a physical, deliberate choice to be seen rejecting her own ride for his. That was a public statement without having to type a single word. And the legal fine print, Diggs' felony strangulation charge from his personal chef dispute requires him to stay away from the alleged victim. So legally, he's got restrictions stacked on him. But socially, he's treating a public after-party like it's neutral ground. That's the problem with Diggs. He doesn't read between the lines. He moves like a man whose legal team doesn't exist. Meanwhile, Cardi's legal team has an 8-0 record in her courtroom battles. Connect those dots and the smile on his face starts looking less like love and more like relief. TMZ framed this night as a straight ex-supporting ex moment, a warm, co-parenting friendly appearance from a doting baby daddy showing respect. Clean narrative. Very polite. Very PR friendly. Nah, that framing doesn't hold up against those timeline dots we just connected. Complex took a more cautious angle, describing it as a pair being spotted together without committing to a full reconciliation label. That's the safe journalism route, and I respect it. But remember that walk-past moment? That's not spotted together. That's a choice with cameras rolling. The shade room and Yahoo leaned further. confirming multiple outlets reported the two literally pulled off together post-party, fueling reunion rumors across every platform. That framing is closer to the reality of the night. And then you got the counter-narrative, the Diggs defenders swarming the comments saying, "She let him see the baby. It's just co-parenting. Stop reaching." Some are pushing the idea that Cardi is still in her feelings about Offset. Brew. Those are the same people who thought Offset hanging out with fans at a Florida casino was a wholesome hangout before he caught a bullet. Their take is built on sand. Here's why the mainstream media framing doesn't add up. If this was a polite co-parenting visit, Grandma doesn't fly in. A trainer doesn't post mid-show. The Big Fish caption doesn't go up. Cardi doesn't ditch her security. And a whole Diggs family doesn't roll 4 deep to a suite. The receipts don't lie. The framing does. The media are trying to spin this off for both sides, but the evidence is screaming reunion. Now let's see what nobody is saying. Here's the mainstream take. Cardi and Diggs are giving love a second chance, a beautiful co-parenting story. The blogs are spinning it like a Hallmark movie. Nah, let me tell you what they won't tell you. This wasn't love. This was a business move dressed up in concert lights. And once you see it through that lens, every single detail starts making a different kind of sense. Think about Diggs' current situation right now, from a pure resources standpoint. He's a 32-year-old free agent with NO team attached to his name. His brother is also jobless. His mother, affectionately the whole family's football mom, has 0 games on her schedule. The household's revenue stream just evaporated overnight. Meanwhile, he's got a felony strangulation charge, a defamation suit, a civil case from an ex-girlfriend seeking up to $1 million, and an influencer alleging he drugged him. Legal fees alone are gonna eat him alive. That's the reality behind that smile in the suite. Now, remember Cardi's legal team? The one I keep bringing up? They reportedly have an 8-0 record in her courtroom battles. The day Cardi and Diggs broke up, her attorneys dropped him on the day of his arraignment, no less. So right now, Diggs is out here fighting 4 active legal cases without the most feared legal firepower in hip-hop in his corner. Diggs isn't just lonely, he's exposed. And the only way he claws that legal team back is by claiming public alignment with Cardi. The grandmother flight, the trainer story, the suite full of relatives, that's not romance. That's a resume. And here's a kicker everybody's too polite to say out loud. When the theory floating around says Diggs might be going back for a second baby, it's not just gossip. That's financial strategy. 1 child means 1 child support situation. 2 kids means a permanent, blood-deep entanglement with one of the highest-earning women in entertainment. 2 kids is a contract that doesn't require a signature. And Diggs is playing checkers while Cardi's team is playing chess. Any smart person would have waited. But Diggs isn't thinking long game, he's thinking survival. But here's what really makes this take forbidden. The role Offset is playing in all of this. Offset is a variable nobody wants to factor into the equation. Fresh out of the hospital, sitting on 6-figure casino debt, a documented gambling problem that multiple people have spoken publicly about, and an ex-wife he clearly never got over. That car crash post wasn't content. That was a cry. And when you mix obsession plus financial desperation plus nothing left to lose, you don't get drama, you get danger. Multiple creators covering this have flagged the Offset piece as something that needs to be taken seriously, not treated like entertainment. Offset's out here representing the OLD chapter of Cardi's life that's closing on him in HD, and he can't stop watching it play out. And that's where the real forbidden take lands. Cardi B isn't a woman choosing between 2 men. She's a woman running the most coordinated brand protection operation in modern hip-hop, while the 2 men around her fall apart at the exact same time. One man's career is unemployed, legally exposed, and flying his grandmother out to beg for legal backup. The other man is hospitalized, brokish, being sued over gambling debts, and posting car crash memes at 2 a.m. Cardi isn't the one in crisis here. She's the one getting chosen. Twice. Simultaneously. And those are the bars nobody wants to print because it makes every take about her messy love life look embarrassing. So when Cardi walked past her own car and got into Diggs' passenger seat, it wasn't a relapse. It wasn't weakness. That was a woman making an executive decision with perfect visibility, knowing cameras were rolling, knowing Offset would see it, knowing the internet would melt, and doing it anyway. That's not romance. That's power. Offset and Diggs are both pieces on her board right now, and they don't even realize they are being positioned. And that's the truth they won't tell you. So what happens next? Here's what's most likely to unfold over the next few weeks. Cardi's gonna keep it ambiguous on her socials. No hard launch, no soft launch, just chaos. She's gonna drop cryptic voice notes on Instagram Live, tease the fans, and let the streets argue it out. Meanwhile, Diggs is gonna get seen at more Cardi-adjacent events. Expect him courtside at a Knicks game with Cardi and designer. Expect him walking Baby Broom out in a stroller with paparazzi accidentally catching them. When those photos drop, Offset is gonna spiral harder. Mark my words, he's gonna post something dumb, delete it, and claim his account was hacked. When Cardi doesn't respond to Offset's antics, he's gonna look desperate screaming into the void. The silence from Cardi is gonna hurt Offset worse than any diss track ever could. And in that silence, Diggs wins by default. Not because he earned it, but because his competition self-destructed. Now, if this isn't a full reconciliation, if this really is just a baby turning one glow that creators were talking about, watch what happens next. Cardi is gonna pull back hard right after Baby Broom's first birthday in November. She's gonna drop an interview on a major podcast and casually mention she's taking time for herself. Diggs is gonna hear that sentence live and feel every syllable hit his chest. If Cardi pivots, Diggs is not ready for what's coming. He'll try to panic post, maybe drop a cryptic quote, maybe leak a baby pic to remind the world he's still around. None of it's gonna work. Because once Cardi moves on, she moves on publicly. We've seen what she does. She doesn't do subtweets. She does stadium tours. Diggs doesn't stand a chance holding her attention against a woman with 176 million followers and a world tour calendar. Now, looking at the bigger picture, forget Cardi, forget Diggs, forget Offset. What happens to the culture itself after a night like April 8th? This moment right here is going to become the case study of the 2026 calendar year. Every podcast, every reaction channel, every hip-hop analyst is going to be breaking down the Cardi-Diggs-Offset triangle for the next 12 months. This is going to live in the same folder as Kimmy, Rhea and Chris, and Future's Baby Mama saga. We're watching culture happen in HD. Long term, Diggs' legacy is going to be rewritten around this era. Before DC, he was an NFL wideout with Pro Bowl credentials. After DC, he's Cardi's baby daddy with full lawsuit first, wide receiver second. That's the trade he made by walking into that suite with his whole family. 5 years from now, when somebody Googles his name, they're not leading with touchdowns. They're leading with this night. That's a legacy L he can't take back. And Offset? Offset is watching the culture move on without him in real time. The bullet healed. The hospital released him. But the status damage is permanent. He went from ex-husband of Cardi B to the cautionary tale in a Cardi B documentary someday. He's done. And there's nothing he can do about it. Whatever happens, reunion, relapse, revenge, or just a messy spring, one thing's clear. Cardi already won this round. Diggs already got what he came for, and Offset already lost. Period. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed uncovering the real story, smash that like button and hit subscribe so you never miss when we expose what everyone else is too scared to say. Ring that bell for notifications. And if you want more truth bombs like this, click on one of these videos next. Trust me, you'll want to see what we found. And by the way, tomorrow we're dropping something wild about Offset's hospital bed meltdown and the real reason that car crash post went up. You do not want to miss that.